All right, welcome everybody. Today we're talking about a new way of doing business. And with us today, our guest is Mr. Rainer Brehm, the CEO of Factory Automation. Mr. Brehm, welcome. Give us a brief introduction about your background, how you came to launch this new product, the Edge Marketplace.
Well, thanks first of all for having me, Lucian. It's a pleasure. And yeah, well, the world is talking about the IT/OT convergence, and I mean, your platform is IIoT. So basically, it's talk about how we bring the internet and things in the industrial world together. Yeah, and so at Siemens, we want to bring together these worlds. Yeah. From the one side, we are very strong on the software side, more on the PLM side, creating products, simulating product, but then very strong on the make side, yeah, on machines, lines where we have a very high market share, market leader in PLC, SCADA system, and so on and so on. So the question is how we bring these worlds together, and we believe that that in the future is much more about open system than closed systems. Yeah, it's not about who has the best field bus, yeah, which was in the past kind of a field bus war going on 20 years, which is nowadays not adding any value anymore. Yeah, so basically the question is how can we jointly move forward industries leveraging IT technologies in the OT world, yeah, and really making an Internet of Things, an industrial Internet of Things, where you bring everybody on board. Is it component supplier, ecosystem supplier, integrators, machine builders, line builders, and customers? How we bring that together to drive forward industry, and how we bring new technology into that space, yeah, like AI and blockchain and augmented reality, and you name it. And we strongly believe that we need to play an ecosystem, and we also get the feedback from customers. They want to apply new technology, but they also want to apply it in an easy OT-like way. That means it need to be capable to run on embedded systems. They don't have big server farms where it runs. Yeah, it need to be capable to be also maintained over several years. They cannot allow several constant changes. On the other side, OT is very, very mm, careful about cybersecurity, and they need to be. How can you make it very secure, and how you also find a way of how you want to keep data on site, and you also don't want maybe that all the time a device is connected to the internet. So how you can do also maybe on-premise device management and on-premise app management, where you say, yes, I want to be connected, I want to get access to stores and so on, but I also need to make sure my operation runs, even if there's a breakdown on the internet, server still down or whatever. I need my operations to run, and how to bring that together, that excites me. Yeah, and that was the reason why we acquired, I think 2 years ago, a company called Pixium, because we had a Siemens, we already did edge computing, and we developed our own edge system, which was very good, but it was proprietary. It was not based on standard technologies, and we said, good, when we have knowledge about edge computing, but doesn't help, because if you want to scale an open ecosystem, want to have partners contributing, it need to be easy. It need to be easy. It need to be open. It need to be customers don't want to have a login, so they want to have an open system which they can use. And that was the reason we bought Pixium, because they were very strong, and in our opinion, the strongest one and maturest one on applying Docker container technology on the shop floor. And that was the reason we bought them. And always having in the back of our mind, we want to scale using standard technology, an open ecosystem. Yeah, that is the idea. But working on cloud, but also on premise, because a lot of customers say, and still I would say 80% of our customers, I want to have on premise edge and app and device management. I don't want to have that in the cloud. So having that possibility to do both. So now, if you think further, okay, then you have those technology, but what brings the ecosystem to life? It brings to life if you have a lot of companies providing devices. So we need to think about device builders who can bring technology on their devices, and they can put it in drives, and they couldn't put it in industrial PCs or on a PLC or on an HMI panel or on a dedicated small server, all fine. So we need to find a lot of partners on the device side, and that is not only Siemens. We are in discussion with also competitors of Siemens to say, hey, let's do that together. Number one. Number two, you need to be attractive for that ecosystem. Needs to be attractive for app builders. Yeah, for app builders, which means that functionality which will come on the shop floor, where we talk about in the past, you had very monolithic systems, and they will all break down more into smaller, scalable systems which you want to combine. So the big monolithic MES systems might be, go apart and went into more services. We call it microservice, but services which you can deploy and combine, and they need to talk to each other. They need to have standard open APIs where they can talk, exchange data. Number one, and number two, also where those apps or those functionality can be deployed on a standard way. And if you think it further, they should be sold on a standard way. Because if you see a lot of app builders, they don't have the infrastructure of doing a marketplace. And so that's also the reason we say now, if you really want to scale ecosystem, we need to make it easy for device builders. Using Docker technology, everybody it's quite easy. So if you talk to somebody, bring your functionality on a container. Normally that's done in days. Yeah, so it's quite easy. It's standard technology. You put it on a container. You have the container, which then you can need to sell, and that's the reason why we put a marketplace into place, where we are not only a shopping window. I think that's also different to maybe I already come to your second question. Stop me if I'm getting too far.
Well, I want to expand a little bit. It's very exciting direction you're going from proprietary to open. I think it's very exciting from the end users, and you also touch on the ecosystem, which bringing on the new ecosystem for the app builders of time. Also, there's questions around the existing one and what might be the future and how they need to adapt to this. So that's an interesting aspect. I want to focus perhaps on the benefits from the end users, from the technology partners, and are they ready to adopt this strategy? Are they asking, and if they are asking, what are they asking you for when you go to, let's say, an end user?
First of all, end users, they see they need to have that deployment of functionality because they see they need this technologies in order to get the next S curve of productivity, innovation, and agility to adapt to the market. Yeah. So this one mass production factory which runs 5 years, 10 years, it's still there, but there's a movement into more flexible production. There's a movement to get better quality by applying AI, because you couldn't find the root cause of the anomaly by simply a linear algorithm. So you need to apply AI on certain aspects. So you come in this direction. Yeah. And the question is, what technology do we have? And though they're working by themselves partly on that, a lot of big end customers say, well, I take open source Docker, try to apply it, but then I don't know that. No, that we don't have that connected. We need to connect to brownfield. I think that's one of the main topics. Who builds a greenfield? It's quite rarely. So we have a huge installed base. How we connect to this installed base, and how we get the right data out, how we put this data into context. Yeah, because somehow it's not only the data point, it's the context, what it is. This is a pump, and in that alarm is, the pump is in a stage which is not good or whatever. Yeah. So you need to put it into context and how to do that the right way. And then they want to do it on an open standard because they don't want to have a vendor lock-in. I think these are the main requirements you see from the end customer side.
Got it. Thank you. Now, let's talk a little bit about the uniqueness of the Siemens Edge marketplace, right? You have partners that have something for the consumer aspect, and have a long history with over 100 years with relationship with the customer. That's about to change, right? So how is this Edge marketplace different than what it's out there? And I won't go in a particular industry, but just.
Yeah. First of all, as I said, it's not a shopping window, yeah, where you say, I have this a nice app. So, and then I say, okay, what brand is this? I go to the brand and buy it. It's basically a complete, it's a shopping window, but it's also a supermarket with a complete transaction process behind it. So, and I think that is quite unique in the B2B area. I mean, if you know, Apple does this, yeah. If you go to an app store on Apple and you want to buy an app, the kind of the transaction, the financial transaction is done by Apple, yeah. And if you look at other marketplaces on the B2B, they call maybe marketplace or storefronts or whatever, but this is more a shopping window. Okay, I like this app, but at the end, the transaction, then you get a link to the company who provides this app, and then you do this transaction completely separated from the shopping window. And what we want to have an easy way for, especially also small companies who don't have that, that kind of infrastructure for doing that transaction, to offer that, yeah, and to say, okay, you can, upload your application, and we also support you on the transaction, and we make sure that this transaction is secure. It applies to the local tax rules. You can do not only a one-time, you can maybe do subscription. So basically, applying all these mechanisms in a way that that the customers can focus on their domain knowledge. Is putting this application, the problem solving of the customer problem in the middle of it, and all the transaction. We want to make it as easy as possible.
Got it. Thank you. So I would think this is a huge opportunity even for small to mid-sized companies that before maybe they felt that companies like Siemens, they are too big to engage with, and now you're opening up for that to have their ideas contribute with an app that may be leveraged by your ecosystem. The question is, how do you ensure that trust? You talk about a cybersecurity, which is a foundation there, but now it's like, how do you make sure that those folks feel that their idea is not just being implemented into a Siemens product, rather it will be amplified and everybody extracts value from that?
Yeah. So number one, for sure, we started with Siemens product. So, but we are working, for example, on a virtualization of industrial edge. So basically, you can run it everywhere.
Mhm.
So it's not, it doesn't need to be on a Siemens device. It can be a whatever PC or server. And number one, number two,
So
we
let's
also,
extract that a little bit, if you don't mind. Just on that, what does that really mean? So if I have, let's say, I'm going to pick a brand A or a brand G, I won't mention them. If they have, you can actually apply this application into that environment.
yeah, basically you would take the edge system,
Hmm.
run it in on a virtual machine in a whatever hardware. So the hardware decoupled, and it could be a Advantech IPC, yeah, or I don't know what it
Thank you.
is.
Yes.
And then basically deploy the functionality onto that edge environment, which runs on a whatever hardware. Yeah, that is it, should be the future, because on a brownfield you cannot say you need to buy. I think a lot of customers do that. I think customers are not yet there to say I really deploy it into an automation device, because they're still on the I want to separate the real control of a machine and then the IoT topic where I get the data and do some maybe AI inference or whatever. So they still want to separate it. I think that in the future it moves more and more together. But if you have a separate device, it could be a new device or could be an existing device, but then you need to put it into a virtual machine and run it. And we're working on that. It's not released yet. We're gonna release that in between January and March next year.
Got it. And let's talk about the priorities for the release, right? As you're approaching this, you obviously what sets on your desk. There might be KPIs around the number of partners you add. There might be KPIs on the number of end users you bring on the platform. How do you measure success with this? What are the priorities for, let's say, at the end of your fiscal year?
A very good question. A very good question. And honestly, I don't have those KPIs. It might be disappointing for a business leader saying I don't drive this business after KPIs. What I do, I see a very good response from the market. Number one, that's good. Currently, we see a bigger demand of what we can currently fulfill. So we need to work also, and if you see our industrial edge system, I think it's very stable and good. But it's in Germany you have a Fritzbox. When you have when I have my internet connection, it's very easy. You install it, you connect it, it's done. And up to now, it's not as easy. You still, you need to bring the IT technology in the OT world. So, for example, OT guys don't know how to handle certificates, for example, handling keys. You need to do. An IT guy would say, no problem, I know how to do that. But how you get through the firewall of our industrial site, how we do that, and it's really not yet plug and play. We need to. That's highest priority. Get it plug and play, even in industrial environments. That's, I think, that's also USP, where I think nobody is yet plug and play. But with that, it's limiting somehow how many. We have many requests how much we can also support currently. Yeah. So I'm not saying now we need to have 100 app builders, and whatever 10, 20 device builders for sure. Maybe that is the area I'm looking for, and I want to have 50 machine builders and 50 end customers, big end customers like this Volkswagen. Be doing that currently. Volkswagen standardized on industrial edge, and it's a big, Volkswagen is a big customer. It's not only one entity; there are several entities you need to talk with to get it into the standard. But I want to have definitely lighthouse customer, which are driving it forward together with us, and that's also important for me because that's a non-mature market, and I need to work together also closely with exactly those kind of thought-leading customers to adapt what we do on their needs with a high probability that it fits in their environment and also fit to other customers' environment. So we are on a journey. So I wouldn't say there are now this and this and this KPIs.
Got it. And thank you for that. I've always said that the automotive industry had been at the forefront of this industrial IoT as they are most advanced if comparing to other industries. And thanks for sharing the fact that there's such a huge customer already on this journey with the Edge marketplace, and look forward to follow the progress. Now, if you're in the audience and you have questions for Mr. Brehm, feel free to leverage the hashtag and we'll get the answers for you. Any parting thoughts, comments?
No, I just was thinking about one topic, which I think is also for me very, very important. That topic of industrial edge plays in an ecosystem as well. So basically, we are driving forward Accelerator Cloud, basically our cloud offering. And we also combine this with Mendix. As you know, Mendix is number one low-code platform. So our dream is, and it's still working, not yet plug and play or drag and drop, but it's already working. Basically, you could develop an app in Mendix, leveraging this low-code environment and deploy it on industrial edge. And when I talk about, I want the app builders leveraging Mendix, having a very fast app development and deploy it on the system. That would be my dream. I want to have end customers who are currently using Excel for doing some problem solving. It needs to be as easy as Excel, yeah? So basically, you write your own app, even not being an IT guy, in Mendix and deploy it to solve your current problem you have in operations on industrial edge, interconnecting, getting the data out of the shop floor. That is my dream, and I'm also very, very happy having Accelerator Cloud and Mendix on board within Siemens. And I think with that combination of number one in the control layer, very sophisticated industrial edge, also the Gartner and showed that we are very strong there, plus our cloud offering with MindSphere and Accelerator Cloud, plus Mendix. I think this combination is going to be very powerful and will help a lot of ecosystem partners to very quick get from the idea to the solution.
Thanks for sharing those insights. And if you're in the audience, I know you can get a trial account. Get started now, because you can get from that Mendix through the cloud application like the MindSphere, and there is a account you can get and get started today. Thanks for your time, Mr. Brehm.
Thank you.